Welcome to Money Clearly, the podcast that explains everyday money without the mystery. I'm Bridget Gale, and each week we break down the money questions that come up in real life, at work, at the bank, and at home, so you can understand what's actually happening with your money. Today, we're talking about something almost everyone has felt. Looking at your bank balance and thinking, wait, that doesn't make sense. So let's start here. Nothing's broken, and you haven't done anything wrong. If your bank balance has ever felt confusing or unreliable, you're not alone. This is a kind of confusion that almost everyone runs into. What you're reacting to isn't a mistake, it's a timing and visibility issue. Before we go any further, I want to set up some expectations. This episode isn't about fixing anything. It's not about budgeting. It's not even about changing behavior. Before we can make any changes to our finances, we have to understand how the system works. And I know everyone out there has a friend that whenever you have a problem, they run in and say, "Oh, I know how to fix it. This is how you do it." You look at them and say, "Well, I haven't even told you what the problem is yet." And it doesn't matter what the problem is. They're absolutely certain they have the fix. We are not going to be our friend. We are going to lay the groundwork. We're going to understand what we're doing before we make any changes. So today is about understanding why the number that you see in your bank app or on your bank statement doesn't feel complete, even when the system is working exactly as it was designed. Let's step back and paint a picture. In our previous episodes, we've talked about our money and how it moves. Let's think about our checking account, our money in motion, as a river. Money is constantly flowing in and out, and you can't freeze a river mid-current. You have a savings account. That's our money at rest. That's a lake. Our lake is sitting next to our river. The water sits in the lake calmly until it's intentionally moved. When you look at your checking account balance, you can't see the whole river. Obviously, our river is huge. We're standing at the bank, we're looking upstream, we're looking downstream, but we can't ever take in the whole river all at one time. We can only see a snapshot of the water passing by at a single point in time. This is why timing matters and why the picture can feel incomplete even when nothing's wrong. Like any snapshot, it only shows what passes by in the moment. You can't see what's way upstream, and you can't see what hasn't arrived yet. Some money has already passed our point on the side of the river, the money that's fully settled. Some money is visible upstream. It's been acknowledged, but it hasn't passed us yet. And some money is really far upstream. We know that it's coming, it's part of the flow, but it isn't visible yet. The balance that we see as we're standing on our side of the river is just one view of a system that's always moving. If this feels abstract, that's okay. We're going to ground this in some everyday experiences where you've probably already seen this before. You've probably been to a restaurant, paid with a card, added a tip, and then left. Later, you check your bank app, and the amount that's showing isn't the full amount that you charged on the card. At first, it might reflect just the base charge. And then later, maybe you check it the next day, you actually see an adjusted amount that has the full charge on it. Nothing new has happened. It's just the banking system finishing up the processing details. The payment you saw when you looked the first time was before everything had been finalized. Another place that this shows up is at a gas station. You're pumping your gas and you haven't finished yet, but maybe your balance already shows a charge. And if you look around, you may have noticed a small sign at the pump that warns you that a temporary hold can be placed on your card. That's because the system is setting aside money before the final amount is known. The account is responding to a placeholder, not a completed charge. Hotels work in a similar way. You check in, but your stay isn't over yet. Even so, later that day, you check your balance and you see that you've already been charged before you've ever checked out. The clerk told you that there would probably be a hold for incidentals during your stay. This is not a trick. They're not trying to cheat you out of your money. This is a signal about timing. They haven't charged you yet. This is a placeholder. But just in case they need to, they know that there is money there to be able to charge you. These situations may feel different on the surface, but underneath the same thing is happening. The system is responding at different points in time as information becomes available. Another way you've probably seen this before are checks. Checks introduce the same timing issue, but in a slower, less visible way. Before we go further, let's pause and talk about what a check is at a high level. It may be in our digital age with the money flying through cash apps and debit cards that you've never had to write a check, and that's fine. Checks have been around for a very long time. A check is a paper instruction that tells your bank to pay someone from your checking account. That's actually where the name checking account comes from. These accounts were built around paper checks as a way to pull money out on demand. And fun fact, they became common in the 19th century when checks were a primary way that people made payments. People literally had to check their balance before writing one, thus the name checking account. So timing has always been a part of how these accounts work. You write a check, maybe to pay a utility bill. Then later, you use your debit card to pay for something at the grocery store. When you check your bank app the next day, you see the charge. At least you see the grocery store charge. And you know, okay, people are taking money out. This looks right. The balance still shows that there's money available. So it feels like the money that you see there is yours to use because that's what the bank says, right? I have money here. But then later that day, the picture changes because the check shows up. The account will adjust. Nothing about your actions was unusual. You didn't do anything wrong. The system just processed the check on a different timeline than the card purchase. You can't assume that when you write a check and then use a debit card, that they will show up in your account in the same order. This is why timing is very important. Knowing what hasn't shown up yet is just as important as knowing what's already there. Let's talk about another example that's a little more involved. Imagine you know today is payday. You're expecting your check to arrive. You also know that your rent is due. The rent payment will need nearly everything that's currently in your account, plus some of the incoming paycheck. We've got two versions of a timeline. In our first version of events, our paycheck lands first. So we know that the paycheck hit the bank. Then the rent payment is processed. In this order, everything clears. Everything is good. The money went in, the rent check was due, the money went out, everyone's happy. Now, imagine the same situation, but things land in a different order. It's the same rent, it's the same paycheck, but this time, the rent payment is processed first, before the paycheck is fully available. At the moment that the system checks to try to pay that rent check, there isn't enough money available in the account. In that case, the rent payment may be rejected. You may see or hear of NSF, which stands for non-sufficient funds. This is the name of that moment that we're talking about, where the system checked and there wasn't enough money available. Nothing about your intent changed. Nothing about your planning changed. Only the timing that these transactions were executed in changed. NSF isn't a judgment on you. It's a system label. It reflects order and timing. This is not how responsible you are or how aware you were. This is just what the system calls a moment in time when it checks and there's not enough money. In our example, we have the same transactions. We have the same amounts, but we have different outcomes, all based on timing. This is why timing awareness matters. So now that we understand how money flows through the system, how timing works, then let's start talking about some names, actual names that the banking system uses to talk about these points in time. There is usually a point when a payment is authorized. That term, authorized, means that the system is checking what's coming, even if it hasn't reached a visible point yet. So, can we do this? That's what the merchant is asking your bank account. Is there money in the account to do this? And the bank responds yes or no. That's authorization. Then there's a period where the transaction is pending. We're standing at the bank, we're looking upstream, we can see the money coming. The transaction is visible, but it hasn't gotten to us on the bank yet. This is pending. And last, there's posted. This is where the money has fully passed the point on the bank that we're standing, and it's recorded and it's settled. Because the system is moving, this is why a bank can show more than one balance. Your current balance reflects all of the money transactions that have already passed. This is you looking downstream. Your pending transactions reflect what's visible but not yet finished. This is you looking from your point on the side of the river upstream and being able to see the money that's coming, but it hasn't passed you yet. Your available balance reflects what the system will let you use based on everything it can see at the moment. So it may show that you have more available than what you really have because those things that are way upstream that are not visible, it doesn't know about it yet. It doesn't know about your rent check that's coming through. And when it checks, that hasn't been made apparent that that money will be taken. So it says, sure, there's money available. All of these can exist at the same time because the money itself is still moving. Confusion around balances is structural, not personal. Apps and bank statements can only show snapshots. Our money keeps moving. In this episode, we're not asking you to fix anything. We're just trying to help you realize that there are gaps. And once you know that, the numbers will stop feeling final. They start feeling like partial information. This week, try to observe transactions in various states. As you're doing your everyday spending, open up your app and see if you can catch them in pending or see if you can tell where your posted transactions are. Like the last few episodes, we're still building awareness, not habits. In the next episode, we'll look at a bank statement line by line and see how this motion gets recorded after the fact. Thanks for listening to Money Clearly. New episodes come out weekly, and until next time, take care of your money so it can take care of you.